Hey guys, it's ChampionAshley here, and I wanted to make a quick update before jumping into the video. The latest videos that I've been working on are taking a lot of my time and probably will take a while more to work on. In the time that I'm trying to get those videos out, I decided to get together with my friend Andy, Macintyre Productions, to basically give a discussion about what we think will happen next week at E3 Nintendo, or Nintendo E3. I'm hoping that you guys will like it and get hyped for the new changes coming to the channel. So thank you guys for understanding and waiting so patiently. So with that, let's get into the discussion. Hey guys, it's ChampionAshley here, and welcome to my first ever discussion video on E3 predictions. I mean, wow, it's only a week away until E3 digital event. Crazy, isn't it? So actually, I have a fellow comrade here with me to help give some justice to the matter. Give a warm welcome and applause to one of my favorite YouTubers, Macintyre Productions, Andy.
Hey, it's glad to be here.
All right, so let's Andy, why don't you give us your thoughts on the matter? What do you expect from Nintendo at E3 next week?
Oh, wow, that's a lot of predictions to go off in there. Well, definitely we're going to see some stuff about Star Fox. That's a given.
Well, yeah, that's obvious.
Yeah, there has been a lot of rumors stating that Animal Crossing, the latest entry, is going to be revealed at the Wii U, which I actually feel there's a high possibility of that happening, since we had a former Animal Crossing developer pretty much allude to that possibility. So I do predict Animal Crossing, and then now we'll go to the meat and potatoes of this, though. Whether or not Metroid will make an appearance.
Oh yeah, Metroid.
I do find it highly likely that we'll see a Metroid 3DS reveal at the event, and my reasoning behind that is because of two men, Shinya Takahashi and Shigeru Miyamoto. These are two particular men well known in Nintendo, but they haven't touched a Metroid game or have touched the Metroid franchise and throughout their entire careers. Last year's E3, they were interviewed about this particular ordeal, and they were discussing the two philosophies behind Metroid gameplay, which is the 2D and 3D. And they were pretty much giving their own takes on it, and it's kind of strange being that they never even touched the franchise before to begin with. And why were they giving subtle hints about Metroid 2D and 3D coming in the near future? And then let's look at Shinya Takahashi's career and track record. He is well known in creating or producing 3DS games.
Yeah, he made Dark Moon. He made Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon like a few years ago.
Right. And the developer that made Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is Next Level Games. And it's also been leaked information coming out that they also developed a leaked Metroid 3DS game that was scrapped.
Yeah, the concept art, I saw that.
Right. And so I still find it likely that Shinya Takahashi, along with Shigeru Miyamoto, are developing a 2D Metroid game, being that Miyamoto is notorious for scrapping a lot of the early versions of particular games. Paper Mario Sticker Star is one example. He scrapped like 7 prior versions of it before it finally came out. So I do find it likely that we'll see a Metroid 2D game coming out. In terms of a 3D one in the style of Prime, that's kind of up in the air at this moment. There has been a lot of talk that whether or not Retro Studios, they developed the Metroid Prime trilogy, that they will develop this particular game. I'm not particularly sure. Recently, they gave out a Twitter statement saying, "Can you dig it?" E3Nintendo.com. That really doesn't say anything at all. It just means, "Can you dig it?" Some people are saying that they're developing a brand new IP, something to do with digging or another Donkey Kong thing. But I do have several inferences and a theory of my own.
Yeah, that's just a theory. A Macintyre Productions theory. Okay, I just copyrighted on that. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna give my take on Metroid. What I was thinking of, since the Metroid 30th anniversary is coming up, what is it, like a year from now? So I was thinking, what kinds of games could Metroid go for? What could Miyamoto go for to celebrate the 30th anniversary? And what I was thinking of, they could really, it's really up to their preferences, but I was thinking of maybe an HD remake of the original, the first ever Metroid, on like either the 3DS or the Wii U. It's basically up to their preferences, But I'm probably gonna get a kind of a lot of hate of this, but I've never played Metroid. I know I kind of suck, but I was thinking that one of the best ways to re-engage the Metroid series is to return back to the classic that started it all on a new console or handheld, like the 3DS or the Wii U. So I'm thinking that's possible, but I don't really see that happening in around E3 because also Andy, I did wanted to talk to you about this. There was a few weeks ago there was this Nintendo Direct Micro that was like 20-minute long Nintendo Direct where they talked about stuff like Pokemon, some new eShop titles. But the one thing that really captured my attention was Bill Trinen stating that this year's E3 is going to be focusing on games that are going to be released in the time frame of late 2015 and early 2016, and I'll get back to that time frame later. But I was thinking that I'm pretty sure that Metroid was probably released like later in the year or when it was released. I wouldn't think that they would release a Metroid title in like early 2016 because that's the time frame if they were to announce that at E3. I don't know, that's just my personal preference. As for a new Metroid game, I don't really know. They could really make it or break it with this one. Like I said, I'm not too deep into Metroid, but I don't really know. It really does depend on what they decided to go for in the digital event. I don't really know about Metroid though.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that point whether or not a new Metroid should be coming out in early 2016. 26, if it's a release sometime 2016, that's putting it very close to the NX, the latest Nintendo console. In regards to Metroid Wii U and what Retro Studios may or may not have dished out with it, their prior project was Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. And they didn't really develop that wholeheartedly. It was co-developed by two development teams, Retro and Monster Games. They didn't devote all of the resources into that particular project. And that has led us to believe that they were developing another project alongside that particular title. Just recently, a couple of months back, they were on a hiring spree to hire a bunch of graphics artists for a brand new project. It could be a new IP, it could be a new Metroid. That's really up in the air at this point. But here's the thing. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze began development around 2014. So we can lead towards an assumption that this particular new title, whatever it might be, also started development at that same year. And the average amount of time it takes for a Metroid Prime game, dealing that this is Retro Studios, is around 3 years. And that puts it towards a 2016 release. And that puts it very close towards an NX reveal. So I'm not really sure if in Nintendo's best interest that Metroid should be revealed and released in 2016. I think it should probably leave it as a launch title for the NX, which I believe will be more beneficial since the Metroid series has kind of been under a curse that they always have a tendency to release around the end of the life cycle of a particular console. Happened with Super Metroid, happened with the other M. So I would definitely see that Metroid should definitely be a launch title for the NX.
I don't really know about that, Andy, because Zelda Wii U looks a little bit like an NX launch title. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I would love to have a reason to buy the NX, but I don't want to feel like I'm back in 2006 with Twilight Princess. It's just we've all seen. I'm pretty sure there was an extreme amount of hype for Twilight Princess back in like 2004 when it was supposed to be in 2005. And actually, it's a bit ironic that 10 years later, we're going through the same process. I don't really, however, it feels like Nintendo, I'm more shifting towards Zelda Wii U, by the way. I'm thinking that it's very possible. I've been seeing a lot of interviews with Aonuma saying that this Zelda is going to be the best ever. My expectations are through the roof for this game, and I'm once again gearing towards it not being shown at E3. There's absolutely no way that they're going to let Zelda go through there's no way that they're going to let E3 go through Zelda free. I'm thinking that maybe they could do something similar to what they did for Skyward Sword, was that it wasn't present at E3 through like trailers or demos at all, but we got like concept art and basically, if we're lucky, the subtitle. That's just wishful thinking, but again, I don't really want to feel like I'm back in 2006 with Twilight Princess, even though that I wasn't into Zelda at the time.
Well, I'm glad you brought that argument since I would also be totally fine if it was just IG Numa just discussing about the game with absolutely no footage at all about it, and he was just giving his take about the development cycle of the particular project.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is about Zelda Wii U, whether or not it should go off the same path as Twilight Princess, like a dual release, like with the GameCube and the Wii version, like Twilight Princess did. I'm not like maybe it should, because the thing is Twilight Princess sold 6 times more on the Wii than it did on the GameCube, and since considering Zelda Wii U, if it only released on the Wii U, would be released at the end of the life cycle of the Wii U, that would also kind of give more decline towards in sales. The thing is, if Zelda Wii U were to be released this year, like originally planned, it would sell more. If it were released in 2016 and only on the Wii U, it would sell less. I'm not sure if it's in Nintendo's best interest just to go purely on a Wii U spectacle here.
And also not to go for a 2015 release, because I want to see a really good game!
Yeah, so I'm definitely out, and a Zelda Wii U as a launch title, that's for the NX, that's a pretty good launch title to begin with, and also for Metroid, if that's also the case.
I mean, we could get that. We could get Metroid and Zelda, which would basically make Nintendo rich just off of launch titles. That would be ridiculous for them. So, moving on to next topic. This is a topic that I really wanted to discuss with you about this, and it's a bit of a theory. Fire Emblem If. Oh my gosh, you have no idea how long I've wanted to talk about Fire Emblem If. I'm going to tell you guys, you and the viewers, a little bit of secret. Before Fire Emblem If, I had no interest in Fire Emblem at all. I remember actually watching the April's Nintendo Direct trailer of Fire Emblem If and going, nah, that's all right. But as I kept on watching, I suddenly got extremely hyped. And if they could turn me on to Fire Emblem, then I know that Fire Emblem If is going to be a good game. And also, I did want to kind of point out, like I said, with the time frame of late 2015 with early 2016, this is a theory. It really all depends on if Fire Emblem If gets shown off at E3, because the time, or not really time frame, but the release date of Fire Emblem If was supposed to be for 2016. And if they show it off at E3, that could mean that we could get it in early 2016. I don't know. I just thought that was a theory that I wanted to express with you.
Well, Fire Emblem If is, well, definitely, like, talking about the Fire Emblem series in general, it is experiencing a reinvigoration. It almost died before Awakening. In terms of Fire Emblem If, they're putting a lot of content in both of these particular versions. They had the recently revealed a new castle thing where you could like customize your own thing. In terms of content, it's really pushing it out there. In fact, Fire Emblem Awakening was around 1 gigabyte of data. Fire Emblem If for each version is 3 gigabytes. It's tripled.
Ooh, geez.
It's tripled the amount, and it's pretty amazing on that. So in terms, I do like it's set to release in Japan pretty soon. I think it releases on the 25th for Japan.
Yeah, like in a couple weeks.
Right, and for the West, in general, I think it's releasing sometime next year in 2016. Which, like, I'm not particularly sure, like, in terms of marketing and translating in terms to other languages. I'm not sure if it would take that long. That's kind of led me to believe that they're gonna market it differently in the West than they are doing it currently in Japan. Maybe we'll get just one title. I'm not particularly sure. That's the Japan thing. They're doing 2 titles. I'm not sure if that's going to translate here in the West, considering they're going to take that long in terms of releasing it to the West. So I think they're going to do something differently with us.
Yeah, I also wanted to bring up the fact, going back to what you said about the 2 games. This is the same thing with Pokemon, right? I never wanted to buy the second version because it's basically a waste of money. It's the exact same game, but with minor tweaks. with Fire Emblem if it's an entirely different story, because I think that one of the developers said that the two games are going to be beneficial. And also, I did want to point out that I'm pretty sure Fire Emblem if White Kingdom is going to sell way more than Black Kingdom, because Black Kingdom is more geared towards the hardcore Fire Emblem fans, whereas White Kingdom is more for the people who bought into Fire Emblem Awakening.
Well, I'm not particularly sure how well it's going to sell off, really. We just have to particularly see. I think I'm not really sure on this, but I think people buy the black version more for some reason. I don't know, maybe just the way the characters are formed or anything like that. But there's a whole fan base and cult following off of that.
Yeah.
I do want to keep in contact with the sale figures once it does come out in Japan and see how well it does well.
See, Andy, I think the reason why everyone wants Fire Emblem Myth is because of that dancing girl. I've been going on Google every single day ever since I got out of school, and I've been seeing more and more fan art of that. Her name is Aqua, though. I looked that up. I've seen more fan art of her than any other Fire Emblem character ever. It's like ridiculous.
I'm glad Fire Emblem is getting a lot of popularity now, but the thing is, it's kind of moved away from the strategy simulation and more into fan fictions, which is kind of hilarious.
Oh my gosh, don't talk about fan fictions. I've already had experience with that enough.
Oh, well.
It's ridiculous. Moving on to next topic. Pokemon. Last month was an extreme letdown for me when it comes to Pokemon, because Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon was announced as a mainstream title, and that really got me sad. But I think that maybe Nintendo can pull out a crazy hand out of this, and maybe announce another Pokemon title at E3. That's really just wild thinking, because mainstream Pokemon titles make Nintendo tons of money. They are a yearly title. They're basically titles that Nintendo can just make in like a year and make them tons of money because they're really good. I don't really know, because if they said that it was Famitsu said that it was going to be some like crazy awesome announcement, I don't think that a mystery dungeon game is going to be appealed by a wide audience. I mean, except for the mystery dungeon community. I'm really thinking that Nintendo and Game Freak could make announce another Pokemon title and show gameplay or something, but that's just wishful thinking, though.
Really, maybe something Pokemon related could be announced. And the main reason why I say that is because I believe for the 2016 slot, there's not really a whole lot of 3DS titles set to be released. I do predict that we'll see a new Metroid 3DS, and Pokemon is a handheld series, so perhaps we'll get something more on Pokemon related than that in for 2016. But then again, that's going to get pretty close towards the next gen of handhelds, since I'm assuming there'll be something alongside the NX, or maybe the NX will encompass both, but that's really up in the air at this point.
I also wanted to discuss as when it comes to mainstream Pokemon titles like remakes or new games, what I really the biggest Pokemon related a game that I want to see for Nintendo is a Diamond and Pearl remakes. Those games were my childhood. I got Platinum. That was the first ever Pokemon game that I ever completed. And I have so many fond memories with that title. I really would love... And Gen 4, the Sinnoh is an incredibly praised generation. They might revisit that generation, because that generation did actually step it up in terms of graphics, like almost full 3D environments. I think it would look amazing in Gen 6 graphics. I don't know. I just really want to see a Gen 4 remakes.
You know what? I really want to see that too, but I doubt it's going to happen with the 3DS, since we just came out of a remake ourselves with Omega Red and Alpha Sapphire.
It was
maybe
Omega Ruby.
Omega
You
Ruby.
said Red. You've got Pokemon Red on the brain, Andy.
Right. But I do like I do imagine that happening with the next gen of handhelds, whatever that handheld would be. Like right now, like I think they should probably just move on with the Pokemon Z or that tentative title what people are really looking for.
You
Um,
know, Annie, I wanted to talk to you about Pokemon Z. I saw a developer interview with Junichi Masuda himself, and he said that people would be expecting Pokemon and Z, and he said that he always wanted to surprise people, so I would automatically think that Pokemon Z isn't an option.
all right, but that's just a tentative title. It could be named something self in itself. But I do imagine there'll be some new Pokemon reveal.
Like maybe they could just pull another Majora's Mask 3D situation and reveal it in a direct.
Yeah, which that's basically the Nintendo Direct thing. They're not really having a formal press conference. They're just doing it, excuse me, online.
Yeah. Uh, so um so moving on next topic. I don't know if I want to get into the waters of Zelda Wii U or Smash Brothers. I'm thinking we should lean more towards Smash Brothers first and tackle Zelda Wii U at last. So there's going to be a live stream on this coming Sunday with Masahiro Sakurai. What do you think that we'll be expecting in that live stream other than the Lucas trailer footage and the Miiverse or stages? What do you are expecting, or maybe thinking about what'll be announced? I was thinking that maybe the DLC character for like the one of the I can't talk right now. I was thinking that maybe they could maybe maybe I can't really think right now. I was thinking that maybe they could go for like a character that was chosen from the fighter ballots that were. I mean, they've been out for like almost 3 months now. They probably would have made a new character already.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people will think that they're just gonna pick choices from the fighter battle. I don't necessarily believe that. I think that they already had fighters picked out, and they're just gonna happen on once in the fire ballot, and they're just gonna say, "Oh, we picked that from the fighter ballot," but no, they already had that plan to begin with. A lot of people want Spyro in, and if that gets a lot of votes, I still don't think that's gonna happen. Um, what in terms of a Smash DLC, I do imagine more stages. That's a big possibility,
Hmm.
and in terms of particular character, it could be anything. People are banking on Ryu from Street Fighter, and people are really banking on Shovel Knight from obviously from the Shovel Knight title. Really, that's really up in the air at the moment, but people have been speculating about a new Mother game or Earthbounding to be released ever since the advent of Lucas being revealed, which may or may not be the case. That's really just wishful thinking.
Or maybe we could just go with Inklings.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, Splatoon. I mean, it would be a little bit too early for Inklings right now. Maybe that could be in like July or something. I don't know. I mean, getting the Inklings from Splatoon into Smash would obviously get Splatoon way more. I mean, Splatoon doesn't need to. Well, Splatoon always needs extra love, but Splatoon's already a passionately praised his game because I've seen so many reviews about Splatoon and they've all been really good about Splatoon. So I'm thinking that maybe that could get Splatoon some extra love into Smash Bros. Because the Inklings are almost begging for that. Like maybe they could be a bit like Link, where they have like specific, like maybe like the splatter shots and the bombs. Just they have a huge assortment of weapons, and I think that's a very good material for Smash.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that since right now, like Splatoon is still getting a lot of popularity. And really, I think Nintendo should really continue on with that popularity and really capitalize on it, which is something easily that a Smash ballot thing could also fix.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. So probably the biggest topic that I wanted to discuss with you, Zelda Wii U. This is again touchy subject already. Um,
Well,
what I was oh, Andy, you wanted to speak?
oh, like I believe we already touched on it a little bit before, but in terms of whether or not we'll see anything with Zelda Wii U, I don't really expect much. And honestly, like the Twitter statement, I honestly do believe it. Like, people like a lot of fandoms are trying to twist the words of Nintendo, but they said they will not show footage of Zelda Wii U at the press conference, which means what it means, really. But I do suspect they'll probably discuss it. I don't really imagine anything big in terms of like a lot of like a big launch trailer or anything like that. I do may perhaps get some concept art, but that's very optimistic. Yeah, perhaps IG Numa is discussing his own words about the topic. But other than that, I don't really imagine much.
Andy, I think you actually inaccurately stated that. You said that they announced it on Twitter, but I distinctly remember that they did it on Facebook.
They did it on both, actually. IG Numa delayed it on Facebook, and then Nintendo said that it will not be released, no, it will not be revealed at E3. IG Numa didn't specifically say that it won't be revealed at E3. He said that in the Facebook one. The separate Twitter one stated that it won't be at E3.
That's a little bit weird how they wouldn't and then specifically state that in like an interview. I mean, Twitter and Facebook, they couldn't have done some official statement, like a very short video. That's, I don't know, that just seems a bit suspicious. I mean, yes, as Nintendo's all about getting the news out extremely quickly, but still.
No, it seems rather hasty, first off. First off, Zelda Wii has been in development for a while now. I suspect it got in development right after 2011, and it's pushing a 2016 release. That's 5 years of development right there. Really, like I do imagine we'll get something, but I don't really imagine we'll get much.
I don't. How do I say this? I want Zelda Wii U so badly, even though that I don't have a Wii U. I just really... Zelda Wii U's been in development for 4 years now, and that's an incredibly long time, even though probably AJ Numa had his hands tied with, what was it? Link Between Worlds, Wind Waker HD, Majora's Mask 3D, and Hyrule Warriors. That's 4 different Zelda titles, including Zelda Wii U. That's incredibly high. I'm pretty sure the actual development has only been in development for only like 2 years now, because pretty sure that the development had to be canceled a few times because Eiji Aonuma wasn't available. He was working on 4 different Zelda titles at the same time. However, I'm pretty sure that Wind Waker HD and Majora's Mask 3D aren't really that long to take any time about it. Even though that Mr. Aonuma himself did comment that remakes are always a painful process, including editing Majora's Mask 3D. I don't know. I just really do feel like the actual development has only been legitimately for 2 years, like focused entirely, because I think there were specific sessions, like very small sessions of working on Zelda Wii U, while all of the other teams were working on the remakes and such.
Well, I have to disagree with you on that part. Zelda Wii was almost revealed at E3 2013. That's putting it very, very backwards in a sense. And it also implies that IG Numa had something substantial in there. I do suspect that it had at least be in development for at least 3 years collectively. And with the interview on Gino, he said that he actually it proves beneficial for the development of Zelda Wii U if it's developed alongside multiple different Zelda titles. Collectively, I do imagine 3 years, and then maybe it rebooted right after the E3 2013 that particular event, and pushing out to E3 2015, which is a lot. And considering that Nintendo hastily announced a Twitter statement that won't be having any gameplay footage at the particular press conference, I do imagine IG Numa wants to work more with Zelda Wii U, and he's not confident about showing a lot of hard footage of it until
I wouldn't really see. I mean, we might get like a bit like what we saw last year at E3. I mean, that wasn't a huge amount of information. It was just as a trailer to show off how it looked. I'm thinking that maybe there could be like a 1 minute or maybe like 30-second long trailer of just showing like little tiny bits of the gameplay, but not anything like too deep, like a bit like what they did last year. I don't really know. They really are being extremely mysterious about this, and just what are they gonna do? It's really all up to questions, and we're gonna have to wait another week and see.
Yeah, pretty much.
The hype's just getting extremely real, guys. It's only a week away, and it feels like it's gonna be years. It's really the hype continues as we got another week left to see where we're going. So special thanks to Macintyre Productions for joining me in this special podcast, and make sure to like the video and comment down below. What do you guys think of? What do you guys see happening at E3? Do you guys see Zelda Wii U, Pokemon, Metroid, Fire Emblem If, or maybe some more Smash? It really does depend on how Nintendo will go with this one. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. So bye.
Bye.